Yo, what's up, YouTube? I don't agree with the philosophy that Gotta Be Kidding Me had in her last video. I forgot the title of it. But in the video, she was talking about how if you are going to at least cheat on your wife or whoever, make sure you are doing it in a manner where you're keeping it safe and you're not bringing home children or STDs or any sort of drama. Now, I understand where she's coming from, and I could possibly even remotely see how that could work if you were dealing with a relationship where the woman was older and realistically her options beyond being with that man were very limited. I don't recommend, I don't condone that sort of behavior in the least, but I can understand where she's getting at, right? If she's really in a position where, even in a divorce or whatever, her life isn't going to be what it was as of now, how they should, how she should stay in that relationship, but make sure if he's gonna step out, do so accordingly. But as far as younger women and who are middle-aged, I think this is horrible advice. This is the sort of ideas or practices that enable negative behavior amongst black men. Okay, how many black men out there are deemed as cheaters, but in reality they're given the green light by their women, right? Just don't bring home any kids, just don't bring home any STDs. I've heard it happen before, high school, college, and even now. That sort of green light to cheat. Okay, and when you give the green light, you can't turn around and call him a cheater. That's one thing I don't like. You knew he was cheating, you condoned it, then you want to somehow turn it around and use it as a negative. You said it was okay. You said it was okay. Now, here's where this whole logic is flawed. And I think, gotta be kidding me, I think you missed this point, or you didn't factor this in, and you didn't factor in the whole idea of women being emotional creatures. This whole idea of you go off and you sleep who you want to sleep with, but you're coming home to me, is based off of the whole idea that you as the woman have him emotionally, right? He's there for you. He's just sleeping with other women, but when it comes down to it, you are his number one, right? You are his boo, and you guys talk and you keep it real, and he opens up to you. Right, that is the hidden reason to why a lot of women co-sign this whole idea of letting your man just go off and cheat. But in reality, what's going to happen if you let a man cheat? Okay, he is going to feel comfortable. So this whole idea of I can only sleep with you, I have a wife or I have a girl, right? Don't call me, whatever, doesn't happen. So because it's okay, he is going to be comfortable in his cheating, and the relationships that he has with these women who are just sexual will turn into more. Okay? So all of a sudden, because it's okay to cheat, he's going to slowly start to build emotional connections with other women. Okay? What you have to understand is, as men, of course, we are sexual beings. Okay, but there's always an emotional connection with it. So if he's sleeping with a woman on the regular, and it's okay, and it's co-signed by the wife, what do you think is going to happen? They're going to talk. They're going to text each other. They're going to go out. Because he's off with her, right? You're just assuming that, they're having sex, but, they could be going out. They could be having dinner. They could be going to the movies. So they could be getting closer. Okay, and it's that emotional disconnect that you will get from your boyfriend or your husband that is what will hurt you in the long run, right? I think, a lot of women can probably deal with the whole idea of their man sleeping with somebody else, but it's never just the act of him sleeping with her. It's the whole idea of being emotionally connected, the whole idea of him coming home, and he's been with the other woman, and, well, let's talk about your day, and he doesn't even want to talk to you because they've probably already talked. Or, she's more up on game in terms of what's going on in, in his life, because maybe they're co-workers, or, maybe they work for the same company, or, in the same area. So they have a lot more in common. So it's this whole idea that he's getting close to somebody in a manner that is more than just physical. That is what's going to hurt women in the long run, and this is what hurts black women. You know, the same women who want to come on and co-sign the whole idea of their man cheating. They can't handle it emotionally. And I don't do this whole idea of, well, she has the green light to now go off and, get upset because her man's a cheater. No, you said it was okay. So to be real with you, you have no right to go off and get mad. You should have known what you were signing up for. You're giving your man the green light to have other close emotional relationships with other women. Now, you made another point that I want to address in regards to, men doing this because, men, we're just sexual people. I don't agree with that. Yeah, I know from a biological standpoint, we are hardwired to have a lot of sex, right? It is what it is, but we have some sort of self-control, right? Men who typically cheat on their girlfriends or their wives, to me, it's either A, they just feel like they can get away with it, or B, they're not attracted to their women anymore, right? I have some friends who are married now, close friends of mine, and we talk, and they were telling me how before they got married, they had to go to wedding counseling, marriage counseling, and after they got married, they had to go to marriage counseling, and they still are going to marriage counseling. And one of the things that they talk about is the whole idea of the wife, even after children, even after work, even after stress, still understanding that, hey, your man has needs. Not saying that she has to be some hoe or a slut, but letting her know that, hey, we as men, we like to enjoy our wives physically. We want to love our women emotionally, spiritually, and whatever, but we also want to love them sexually. So you have to make sure you are pleasing him in that level. Because women who want to destroy your marriage will come in and try to fill the void. And the void that a lot of girlfriends or that a lot of wives leave when they're dealing with their boyfriends or their husbands is they're not allowing their husbands or boyfriends to love them and appreciate them sexually. So that, to me, is where you have this whole idea of men going off and cheating. To be honest with you. The cases that I know of where, the men were cheating and they were older, whether it was like an older cousin or friend of the family or even an older uncle, and they ended up cheating, a big part of them cheating was the whole idea of, they weren't necessarily attracted to the wives anymore. They got older, had a couple of kids, and it's not about, even though you're 40, you have to look like what you did at 20. No. But you still have to have that, how can I put it, that sexual attraction, that sexual pizzazz that women have, right? Men, we go nuts over women who we see who are attractive who aren't supposed to be. Like I said before, the most attractive women, it can be the 20-year-old, but you expect her to be attractive. But it's the 30-year-old, it's the 40-year-old who has it together. Like I said before, I remember I spent some time working at a gym a couple of summers ago, and the baddest chick in there was this chick who was, 42? Because she wasn't supposed to be bad, right? Of course, she didn't look like a 20-year-old, but the fact that she was still well put together and she maintained herself at 42, okay, meant a lot. But a lot of women aren't doing that, hence the whole idea of men cheating. It's not men cheating just because we're dogs and, that's just the way we operate. Yeah, some do, but in a nutshell, we have more control than what society wants to act like, we have. We can control it. It's just that when you don't get one of your fundamental needs met, you're going to do what you have to do. So, I know I made 2 points in this video, but hopefully you were able to follow me, right? And to recap, the first point I made was that I don't think women, especially younger women and middle-aged women, should accept this whole idea of having your man cheat, even though he does it correctly, because you are still going to be hurt emotionally. You can't handle the whole idea of him being emotionally connected to other women. But you probably can handle the whole idea of him simply just sleeping with somebody else. And secondly, in regards to men just, having this urge to sleep with women and we're being hypersexual, or I don't even know how you want to, phrase it, but it has more so to do with the girlfriend and the wife not understanding that you have to appeal to your man's sexual side. The whole idea of him wanting to love you sexually. A lot of women just give up. They assume that, they're 30 or whatever and they're not supposed to be sexually attractive. No. Right? If I ever get married or whatever, I would want my wife at whatever age to want to be that woman who wants to be attractive. Right? I call it shallow, but men want other men to look at their wives and say, man, she's a MILF. Right? So when my wife is 38 or whatever, I want the boys to say like, man, I would, give it to Mrs. So-and-so. Right? She's hot. She's a MILF. When she's taking my son to, a basketball game, that's what we want to see. And when they do that, the men aren't really going to cheat like that. So anyways, I got to cut it short. Take it easy. God bless.